Hey guys, Mitch from Switchback Lighting here again with another video on the VF custom headlights. So you would have seen in the last one we pulled the headlights apart and I had inserts prepped already to go back into the new ones, and we finished that build. So pretty much we're on to the next build now. This one's slightly different. So this particular setup is just a quad projector setup with honeycomb etching on the projector lenses. So pretty much what I've got here is we're going to prep the parts pretty much. So these I've painted already. They are a bit dirty, they've been sitting around for a while. So I normally paint 5 pairs of these at a time for the VF build. So there's a left and right there, but we'll probably only look at doing the right hand side. And then we've got our insert, which you would have seen in the last video, is what sits in the headlight housing. Your projector lens goes in here, and then your reflector bowl bolts in there with the screws on the back. So pretty much what we're going to do is install our projector into this reflector bowl that no longer reflects. So first off, we're going to clean this out, get all the dust out of it just with a microfiber cloth. Just get it all clear. This paint's been dry for at least a week, so there's no real worry doing that. So pretty much we've got our projector kit here. If you do buy a DIY kit from us, this is essentially what you get. So they come with the projectors, the shrouds, and the mounting hardware. So there's obviously 2. I'll probably keep one in the box for now and then pretty much unbox them. So this particular customer's going for a honeycomb pair, which these are not, whereas they should be. So bear with me, I'm going to swap these over for a honeycomb set. We'll be back. Alright, we are back. Sorry about that. Got a projector kit here with honeycomb etching. We get these already etched. It's just a lot easier for flow as far as the builds go. We do have to etch lenses anyway. We've got to etch, these ones are prepped ready to etch, so they're the honeycomb pattern that go in the low beam. So that is to be done, which we will do. We've got our mounting hardware here. This is a H4. I'll just zoom this in a touch. This is a H4 mount. We don't use this, put it aside. You've got your rubber. This pretty much is your rubber that sits behind the projector. Make sure it doesn't rub on anything. We'll get the projector shroud out. Now on the last build we mounted a halo to this. We're obviously not doing that in this build. No halos for this build at all. You've got your H1 bracket and your H1 metal retaining clip as well, which we'll put to the side. We don't need them till last. And last we've got our H7 adapter, I guess. Usually these are installed in headlights for low beam, for instance, low beam reflector H7, so that would slot in nicely. It's not the case with this, but we do use these still as a washer pretty much. Now, one thing we haven't got to yet is the retaining nut, which is on the projector itself. So these are a shaft mount projector. So pretty much the shaft slides in, you bolt it up, and away you go. This here is your high-low beam solenoid. As you can most likely see, there is a solenoid in there that pretty much when it's powered, it flips the little cutoff down in a high beam mode. Because we are using these for high beam projectors only in this build, we're going to remove this. It's just a plate, so it's very easily removable there is 4 Phillips screws on each mount. So I'll do that quickly now. Usually you can do this pretty quickly. So your lens and the holder comes off, then you've got your bowl and the metal. So here's a better look at it. There's your solenoid. So pretty much, yeah, when those wires are powered, your cutoff will flip down into high beam mode. So because we're not using that, we're going to put that aside and pretty much bolt our projector lens and holder back onto the body or the projector bowl, which we will do now. So pretty much the next part of the process is making sure the honeycomb's straight. This is a big one that some builders seem to miss for some reason, but we know that the top of the projector is this side. There's writing on the bottom. Obviously you want to be able to read that, so that's how you identify how it is, what orientation it is. But you want to make sure that your honeycomb's straight up and down. We want to make sure for both. Now this has come spot on, so I'm not going to touch it, but a lot of the time they don't, so you've just got to twist it around, make it straight, and it'll look nice. So the next thing is we want to put our shroud on. So pretty much the shroud just slides over, and then you've got 4 bolt holes here that we need to put some screws in, which funnily enough they don't include in here, but when we do our DIY kits we throw them in. We just use timber screws, that's what you're supposed to use. So these are just 6 gang 16mm, so we need 4 of them for each projector. So as I said, I want to screw them in. Holds the projector on, projector shroud on I should say. And my screwdriver's getting flat. But pretty much there's not much to it as I drop the screw. There's not much to these setups. It's just the time consuming part of painting, waiting for things to dry, that sort of thing. So when you are doing the build, I mean it probably, these videos go for a while, but they're really nothing in comparison to actually how long it takes. So another screw. So after the shroud is on, shroud's all bolted up, they're tight, we're going to put our rubber on the shaft, and pretty much the shaft will go straight into here. Now this pokes through the other side, which is where we want to put our H7 washer and then our nut. So we'll do that now. So occasionally these H7 brackets won't initially fit over the shaft just because of the locking tab, so I did have to grind that down a little bit just with the Dremel. I don't have to do that all the time, so I'm not sure what to go, whether that's a manufacturing thing or they've just put the wrong washers in, but that's an easy fix for us anyway. So pretty much, move a bit closer to the camera, we put the shaft through, we put our washer on, it pretty much holds it into place, and then we run our nut on just finger tight for now. What I normally do is press the lens on my leg and tighten it a little bit more by hand. That way you know you're not cross threading it, because these are only sort of aluminium type things, so they're very easily cross-threaded, which a lot of the time when you tighten them up they'll cross-thread anyway, so just because of the threads itself. But I'm just going to hit this up with this is a 27mm socket, just firmly. Make sure the projector's straight. You can see here, you can see there's a horizontal at the bottom. We just want to make sure that's straight. That way we know the projector itself is straight. Now, you would have seen me use this instant glue last time for the lens. I put some on this as well. Vibrations and whatnot can undo parts like this that don't have spring washers or anything on them, so I'm just going to put a bit of a dab on this section and activate it. So that's, always put the lid back on, that sort of thing, because it does go off if you leave it off. So pretty much now we've got the projector mounted. We want to mount our mounting plate. So this guy, it's got 3 tiny little screws that I have moved somewhere, but there's one of them. They are very small, they are very easy to lose as well. There they are. Very easy to lose and very easy to strip these as well. So I normally just use a drill bit. I don't even put it in anything, just because, one, they're so small. 2, you don't want to crank them in. So I'm just gonna run these in by hand. They don't need to be tight. They just need to hold it there. If they don't hold it there, your bulb won't sit right. It won't stay in, and it'll move around while you're driving, which you don't want. So we've got, just run them in by hand, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a sec. And excuse the neighbour's dog, I apologise. So this is what it should look like by the end of it. You've got your 3 screws in there, and that's pretty much ready to mount to our frame. So I'm going to grab some screws from that. These are ones that come out of it, so they're nothing special. Just keep all your bits and pieces. So pretty much putting back on, you can't get this wrong. So it's very, very easy stuff this is. Don't crank these in either. It's fiberglass, so as soon as it strips, you'll know about it. It'll just go loose again. So you don't want to do them stupid tight. You want them firm. These aren't going to rattle loose. So there we go. So that is prepped for now. We do need to do the low beam lens, which I'll get to. What I'm going to do first is finish the other side. So we've done the passenger side, so we'll do the driver's side, and then we'll do both the lenses, and then pretty much that part of it is prepped, and then we'll cover the shroud, the inner section of the lens, the inner section of the plastic lens on the headlight, all the shrouds and whatnot, and piece them together. And then we'll be prepped for doing the headlight, which I'll do tomorrow probably. So I'll prep these for tomorrow, and then we'll have the quad projectors done tomorrow. So I'm going to do this side, as I said. We'll get to the lenses, which I'll run through as well, and yeah, easy. Catch you then. Alright, so the prepping is done for both sides of these now, so we just need to do the low beam lenses, and then we're completely prepped to swap both those over in a new set of headlights tomorrow. So pretty much what I'm going to go through now is lens etching, because it's something that's not really clear. There's not many videos on it, there's not much information out there in regards to lens etching. But pretty much lens etching is a pattern on the projector lens glass, as you see here. Now Generally, it doesn't affect light output depending on what is etched. Things like this, where it's only lines, it's not going to affect it much at all. So people just do it for a bit of cosmetic looks. That looks good when it's off. It looks good when it's on as well, and people use them as well as demon eyes as well, which are RGB lights mounted behind the projector, so they shine through the glass. So pretty much how you do it, there's a couple of different ways. One way works every time. That's the way I do it now. Pretty much use a vinyl cutter, which will cut out your pattern. Essentially this is vinyl sticker, so pretty much you lay it down on the lens, cut around it, you cover the rest of the lens up with tape that protects it from when we blast it, but pretty much all of the exposed glass here will get etched and permanently etched, so that's the process of it. So I'll go through my setup with you now, which over here I've got my sandblasting cabinet and my compressor underneath. So compressor supplies air to the sandblasting cabinet. Sandblasting cabinet has aluminium oxide in it, 240 grit, so that comes in 5 kilo drums, which I don't really buy too much of. It's pretty reusable in this situation, and I've got my light on the top there, so if I flick that on, you can hopefully probably not see inside. I will open it up anyway once I get my heat gun out of the way. So pretty much if we open up this is what it looks like. You got your gloves and you got your piece. Essentially the material that's in the bottom is sucked up by the air compressor, which I'll take the hose off and plug it in the side there, and pretty much it shoots really fine particles at whatever you are trying to clean etch. So a lot of them used to get rust off car parts and things like that. So in this instance we're using it on glass, and the white aluminium oxide gives us that frosted, if it will focus, frosted look. So pretty much I'm going to plug the compressor in, we're going to etch these, and then we're going to spray them, get the pattern on, and then pretty much peel all these little stickers off, and then we're ready to put them, after we wash them, we're ready to put them back in the housing. So I'm going to etch these. I won't do it on camera, it's pretty boring. You're just spraying, essentially like spraying air onto these, but it'll etch them. So I'll do that, I'll come back and we'll see what the result is. That stuff is super messy, so definitely don't recommend having a sandblasting cabinet right next to your working like I do, but I will move it eventually. But pretty much once I find how good is this material, find my tweezers. So pretty much the end product is this. You can see that it's frosted. You've got to double check that it actually is all done, but in this case it looks pretty good. Here's the other one, same thing. I've just blown it off with the air compressor, so it's not too major at all. But now is the fun part of peeling all these little bits off. Now you'll see, I'm obviously not going to do every single one of these on camera. I'm going to show you the, so you can see all the glass underneath those stickers are clear because the stickers protected it, and you've got your lines there. So pretty much I'm going to peel all these off, use the heat gun a little bit because it makes it easier to work with the vinyl. Peel all these off, peel the tape off, give it a clean up with some water, and then we'll use our our spot cleaner, the sticky solution on this side, because the vinyl does leave some sticky residue. And then we're going to go in with the rubbing isopropyl alcohol at the end, just like we used on the lens. So pretty much I'm going to do that, and then we'll get back to you. Alright, so we've just cleaned these lenses up. Going to make sure that these are squeaky clean, otherwise it'll show up. But if it'll focus, probably won't. You get the idea anyway. It looks good. So now that these are cleaned right up, just make sure that they're crystal clear, which this one is. I'll just show this side anyway, but pretty much, hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. Pretty much 2 Phillips screws. This will come off. We're going to put our lens in, make sure it's straight. And then pretty much this will go back on and clamp the lens down, which it has almost. Excuse the dogs barking. Hopefully fix that issue. Yeah, so we're back here and this is our end result. Put our honeycomb on both lenses now, so this is ready to install into the headlight. We haven't done that. We haven't got the headlight apart yet, so that'll be tomorrow's job. Just gonna clean up this one. Same thing. And then we'll get back. Alright, so these parts have just come out of the caustic soda bath that we stripped the chrome off the standard headlights. As you can see here, these are the standard ones. Obviously these are black. This is black raw plastic, this is not painted. Comes out in a piano black finish. As you can see, it's pretty much a perfect finish, which is why we leave them raw. It's a lot better to leave them raw than spray them with paint, and it's canned spray paint is not gonna end like this. So pretty much the process now getting these ready is pretty much spraying them all down with alcohol to clean them up, get all the dust off them. But pretty much they'll all clip together. So this clear cover goes over the indicator, so we're just going to make sure the inside of this is clean. Make sure there's no marks, fingerprints, anything like that, because they'll show up on the end product and we don't want that. So this just clips together. I normally start at the bottom and push it until it clicks like that, and then run up the side and then the top. So that's our first section, which I'll then wipe the outside. So pretty much the first part to go back together is our low beam shroud and our indicator module. So that'll go together. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws that I'll get out of here. The one on the end of the fin on the shroud, that's different length. It's a smaller one, and it's also usually a different colour as well. So it's a grey screw and it's shorter. The rest of them are sort of goldy type colours. So pretty much I'm just going to run through, screw all these in, and then get to the next bit. The next section to go on is our high beam section. This one was actually removed today for the previous video, so I'm just going to lightly dust that down. Doesn't need to be sprayed with alcohol because it wasn't too dusty. So I'm going to screw that guy in. There's a few screws, and then we'll get back to that. Our last section is the painted surround that we have done. This one's relatively freshly painted, just needs a light dust off. Pretty much what we want to do is put the end section in first, slide it into the screw hole, which is hard to do on camera, but there's a screw hole on this side. Slide it in there, and then on the top section you just press down on it and it'll click into place and pretty much put your screws in. And the lucky last thing is our clear bezel here. So that just pops out. You put your top bit in first, make sure the clips sort of sit in there, and then we just push on the bottom until it clicks like that. So pretty much that is ready to go. It's just one last step, and then this guy's prepped ready to go into the headlight. Now these are a preventative measure that we do here to prevent condensation. As I explained in the last video, these headlights are prone to condensation. We combat that by the bolt-on breathers that you would have seen in the last video. But we also combat it with a 10-gram silica packet inside the headlights. These are very common with retrofitters. A lot of them won't mention that they're actually installed on the headlight because they can't really explain why the condensation's actually happening, whereas we know. So I just stick it on the bottom side of the hole insert, and I mean, when it's installed on the headlight, you don't see it. It's behind everything, and it's pretty neat. So, and it keeps that condensation away. That little bit extra, you'd rather have too much than too little. So that's ready. That's prepped, ready to go. That'll be going in the headlight tomorrow when we do them, and I'll post some footage then. The rest of the process is do the other side, and it's all prepped, ready to go into the headlight. I would hope that clears a little bit up for you. You know the sort of process that we go through putting these together. It's a time-consuming job. That's why obviously it's charged through the prices. But yeah, it's good to see when people give it a crack themselves and then they know exactly what we go through, sort of every build. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Like, subscribe, comment if you've got any questions. I will be doing a few new sort of videos. Not only this car, we'll be doing other cars very shortly, and this is just sort of to start us back up again with the throwing our knowledge out there and sort of what we go through with our builds. But as I said, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Drop it.